The puppy program is responsible for their journey from 7.5 weeks old until about 14 months old.
It takes 2 years from the time that a dog guide is born until they complete their training.
Aren't you beautiful?
The first year of a puppy's life is spent with their foster family.
I think Fundy's gonna come in and take over.
They can be a little bit mischievous. So we call them like the teenage years.
Then the dogs go through an intense 6 to 8 month training program before they're ready to meet their match.
The thought that goes into every little detail, it's a really cool process.
They train in public places, including airports, and always go the distance to meet their humans in need.
What they do for us and our family is, we could never thank them enough.
And there's an entire village of humans behind a dog guide's journey.
It's absolutely phenomenal how many people are involved.
This is the story about dog guides and the people who raise them at Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides.
All right, pup, stay still. Little pup.
Today is Puppy Vaccination Day because even puppies need vaccines.
You're being so good, puppy.
My name's Caitlin Wasilki, and I'm the veterinary clinic coordinator here at Dog Guides. It's a really exciting time. All the puppies are coming in with their fosters.
Okay, get your service.
Fun maybe, but not always easy.
It's the first time that the puppies all get reunited again, so all the siblings are playing around. It's a fun day, puppy vaccines.
Good job.
Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides boasts its own in-house vet clinic, but that's not all. They've got their very own breeding program too. With locations in Oakville and Breslau, it's the only school in Canada that offers 7 programs: canine vision, hearing, autism assistance, service, seizure response, diabetic alert, and facility support.
Good job.
Almost everyone at Dog Guides worked in the kennels at one time or another.
So I started in the kennels.
I first started in the kennels.
As soon as there was an opening in the kennel position, I applied.
Imagine having like 40, 50 kennels that you're cleaning. It's a magnificent amount of poop.
Really just a glorified pooper scooper.
Despite the messy beginnings, everyone can agree that this place is life-changing.
What's not to love? Being an instructor here at Dog Guides was always a dream of mine. I actually dressed up as a guide dog trainer for Halloween when I was a kid at some point. So.
Julie Gabori is the head instructor of the Diabetic Alert program and the Seizure Response program, and she's been at Dog Guides for 24 years.
We all work at Dog Guides because we do have a love for dogs, but also we have a love in helping people.
Nice control, good.
Seeing the impact that our dogs have in people's lives.
Lise Marie has been a client of Dog Guides for many years and currently has her 3rd dog guide. Lise Marie suffers from absent seizures that makes her lose consciousness for brief periods of time, but won't appear to anyone who doesn't know that she's having a seizure.
Same thing, I can't hear anything and I can't feel anything. And I would fall down quite a bit. And I have had lots of concussions and things like that in the past. People had no idea because it didn't look like a seizure. Having a dog guide has given me lots of freedom and independence, as I've been living without my parents for 3 years when I never thought it was possible. He always is there to hug me when I need him. Yeah.
For seizure response and diabetic alert, we do look for dogs who are quite people-oriented. We want them to be attentive to what their handler is doing. So in our seizure response program, the dogs are trained to react to the seizures. They're not trained to detect them. At the onset of the seizure, the dog will bark, 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 bark until somebody comes and helps. With our diabetic alert program, the dogs are trained to detect.
My name is Amanda Crow, and I'm an instructor in the Diabetic Alert Dog program. We train dogs to alert somebody with type 1 or type 2 diabetes that are insulin dependent and have hypoglycemic unawareness. They can't feel their blood sugar dropping. Our dogs will alert to a level lower than 4.5, and they do that through scent.
With a sample of saliva from a person with diabetes, they are able to train the dogs to alert their handler by smelling that the levels are too low.
We do train the dogs, though, if the person has dropped really, really quickly, the dogs are also trained to bark that the person needs assistance.
I discovered Dog Guides kind of by a fluke.
Good girl.
And as soon as I started my apprenticeship, I was like, there's so many things, there's so many rewarding aspects of this job, not even touching on the dog part of it, that makes it so worthwhile. It's like addicting. You want to keep going, you want to get better, you want to make your dogs better, you want to increase your relationship with your clients, and it's such a rewarding, fulfilling thing.
Yeah, good boy.
And it all began with Canine Vision, the original program for the school. Greg Clark is head instructor of the Canine Vision program.
Oh, good. My father was a Lions member in the Oakville Lions Club.
Yes, good girl.
And he brought me down to the facility, and watching the instructors train the dogs, I knew that's what I'd like to do. 30 plus years later, I'm still here and I love every single minute of it.
I'm Alison Ashworth, an instructor in the Canine Vision program. I always knew I wanted to work with dogs. My friend told me that they were opening a guide dog centre in the town where I live in the UK. So I was there from the very first day of opening.
So Canine Vision Canada, we train dogs for clients who are blind or visually impaired. Our dogs are taught to navigate through the streets of various parts of the country. About 90% of our work is outside working the dogs.
With Canine Vision, the dogs are needed to get the client from point A to point B by helping the client to navigate sidewalks, curbs, obstacles, and crossing the street.
Teaching dogs to guide is a lengthy process. I love training them, I love being out walking with them, teaching them their skills.
My name is Rhonda Workman, and I'm head instructor of hearing and service dog guides.
She heard about dog guides after seeing an ad in high school.
I thought, that's perfect. I love dogs. I love helping people. And I just kept applying to different schools until somebody hired me. I have been working at dog guides for about 24 and a half years now. The service dog guide program is really interesting and challenging because our clients are so diverse. We have clients who perhaps have multiple sclerosis, but we also have clients that are perhaps paralyzed, and that's a different set of challenges. The dogs are taught how to tug on ropes.
Good boy.
And ropes can be attached to doors, the fridge, the cupboard. The dogs can learn to hit automatic buttons to help you gain access into places.
My name is Kayla Cusack. I'm a hearing dog guide instructor. The dogs are trained to alert their handler, which means they make physical contact by putting 1 or 2 paws on the handler's leg, for example. She's alerting me.
For some sounds, the dog will bring you to that sound. For something like the fire alarm, the dog's going to touch you, and then he's going to spin in circles, and that lets you know, hey, this is serious. You need to get out of here.
The moment that it all sort of comes together is usually when we do sound work for the first time, and the dog alerts the new client to the sound.
Good, yes.
And the client's face brightens up and their eyes get big, and it's very exciting.
Good girl, Renee.
That realization that this is what it looks like and how this dog's gonna change their life.
So the autism team right now, we have Christina and we have Shannon. They're gonna be training the dogs to do a halt.
My name is Courtney Starr. I've been at dog guides for almost 17 years.
After 12 years with the Vision program, Courtney is now head instructor of the Autism Assistance and the Facility Support programs. Her journey began as a foster parent when she was in university.
We were working with dog guides. We had to come in for puppy training classes. I was just in awe at what the puppy staff did. And I thought to myself at that point, this is where I want to work.
Okay, so Christina and Shannon, if I can get you guys to do a halt with your dogs.
In the Autism Assistance Program, we train dogs for children who have been formally diagnosed on the autism spectrum.
Clients like Colin McKenzie and his family know from experience.
My name is Colin McKenzie. We've had a relationship with dog guides since December of 2013. Our son Nathan is now 13 years old. He is nonverbal autism. He's an extreme flight risk. He doesn't understand traffic or dangers or anything like that.
Halt. Yes.
So in the halt command, the child wears a safety belt that's connected to the dog's harness. And if the child is to bolt or wander, the parent says halt, and the dog drops down to the floor in a down, and the parent can quickly intervene and get their child to come back. My name is Shannon Graham, and I am an apprentice instructor in the Autism Assistance Program in high school. I worked in the kennel, and I had this kind of aha moment where I watched a service dog class. I was just in absolute awe of the partnership and the bond that can happen so quickly and last a lifetime.
All right. Good boy, sit.
Art Fernandez is a fellow apprentice in the autism program, and he's nearing the end of his 3-year apprenticeship.
When they first hired me as an apprentice, they asked me what program I would like to be in. I thought what the dogs did with the kids was interesting, and what they could do with the kids is life-changing. So autism was really my first choice. Good boy. This is actually my second career.
Art's a medical doctor who ultimately reached his breaking point before changing his whole life.
It came to the point where I burned out. I spent about 6 hours in bed every day.
Art and his family had adopted a dog, and that dog stayed by Art's side through his darkest hours.
As long as I stayed in that room, this dog stayed with me. Until finally my youngest daughter actually suggested that I work with dogs. The idea of working with dogs appealed to me because it was like giving back. So I decided to try my luck and apply, and they gave me a chance. 3 years later, I'm training dogs.
Art's not the only one who left a lucrative career behind.
My name is Gina Lee Joy. I'm the Director of Programs and Client Services.
Gina had a career in IT before coming to Dog Guides.
I was at the 20-year mark, and I felt as though something was missing.
One day while shopping, she came across a dog guide in training, and it changed her life forever.
There was a beautiful puppy in a green jacket that said Future Dog Guide, and there was a booth set up, and they were selling calendars. And I bought a calendar, and through that I learned about the organization. To have this kind of impact on people was so appealing to me. It became something I had to achieve, and here I am about 9 months later now into my role. Our most recent program is called Facility Support.
Jake is a facility support dog that works for the Airdrie RCMP detachment in Alberta. Debbie Reed is the court coordinator as well as Jake's handler.
My job is to monitor the court proceedings for the accused persons and to help the victims navigate through that process.
A facility support dog is used to support the victim in a criminal case while they go to court, give testimony, or even undergo hospitalization. Jake uses his body weight to provide comfort and support.
Jake, once he's commanded to stay, he will stay indefinitely until he's commanded to release.
It's one of the programs where those dogs help possibly thousands of people over the course of their working careers. So it's a new program, but it's a really important program.
In the midst of growth and an increasing demand for dog guides, the world took an unexpected turn.
We were faced with some of the most difficult, challenging decisions that I think this organization has ever faced due to COVID.
Go. Okay, see you later.
Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides will return after the break. We're back with Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides. The organization is something of a national treasure, radically changing lives for the better by pairing working dogs with the humans who need them most. The key component of the organization is where it all begins, with the in-house breeding program.
My name's Sam Hobbs. I'm the breeding program supervisor at Dog Guides Canada. I really got interested when I was in high school. A fellow student had a service dog, and I started off as a volunteer foster parent. So our breeding dogs, they themselves are not working dogs, but the dogs that will go on to be breeding dogs have gone through the fostering, come in for their initial training, and are really our best of the best dogs is what we want to select for our breeders, so that hopefully each successive generation will be just a little bit better in terms of the traits that we need.
Lucy Harbach has been with Dog Guides for 11 years.
Puppies, when they're first very little, they're fluffy, they're small, they're cute, they can be a little bit mischievous, and they start to do things that we wouldn't want them to do as a service dog. So that's where us puppy representatives come in.
The puppy program starts from the time that the puppy is about 7 weeks old and placed with their foster family until about 14 months old and ready for assessment.
My name's Lisa Krutwagen. I am the puppy program supervisor. I know, sounds like a dream job, and I get to have it. My role is to look after over 300 foster families and the puppies that they are raising for us. The primary focus of the puppy program is socialization during that critical young puppy period. Our goal is to raise confident, happy dogs that are willing to work. My foster families are passionate about what they do. It's a huge commitment. We're asking 24/7, a lot of paper towels, a lot of sleepless nights, and then just when it's all getting great, they have to give the puppy back.
It's a really good program and a really good cause, and it's going to make somebody else very happy.
Yeah.
My name is Heather Staunton, and I work as kennel staff in the Breslau location. Kennel is a really big part of the dog guide's life. When they come in for their official training, it's a huge change in their environment. So it's our job to really make sure that they're healthy, they're happy, they're taken care of, their home is really in tip-top shape, clean, sanitized, and our dogs are happy. That's the main thing, that they're healthy and happy.
In the spring of 2020, the Foundation and the rest of the region were thrown for a loop when the province went into lockdown in order to curb the coronavirus pandemic.
The pandemic has hit us hard, and we realized that because of the lockdowns and because of the safety protocols we have to put in place, we can't operate in the same manner.
That was a little scary to hear, am I going to lose my job? What's going to happen to the dogs they're all here in training? What about the dogs that are ready to graduate? What about the dogs that are just starting? What about the puppies that are in our foster homes?
They were forced to make a decision and close their doors.
Essentially, it was decided that we were going to send all 400 of our dogs home to their foster families if they could take them, with the consideration that we didn't know when or if we could come back. Every trainer was responsible for sending home their string of dogs and doing it in a non-contact way. We put the dogs in the back of the car and just kind of said goodbye and crossed our fingers that we'd get to return to training at some point.
The effects of the pandemic were felt by everyone at Dog Guides.
It was quiet, too quiet. It took away my joy for my job.
We also made a decision to temporarily pause our breeding program, which was really, really difficult. Puppies are the life and the spirit of our facility.
To have such a long time where we were not breeding anyone was very, very strange.
Saying goodbye to puppies means that there may not be as many dogs to graduate in the future.
My name is Bev Crandall. I am the CEO of Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides. The challenge is we don't want our wait list to get so long that we have clients on the wait list for years before we can serve them. So we have made a really difficult decision to temporarily suspend our application process and our wait list for our clients.
Almost immediately, life at Dog Guides looked completely different for both dogs and staff.
Right off the bat, it was a complete shift. So day to day, pre-pandemic, I was hands-on with the dogs all day, every day.
And gift. Thank you.
And then all of a sudden, it was like a flip of a switch and everyone went home. Clients were on hold, no classes were coming in. I had dogs at that point who were end of the early stages of their training, and all their obedience was really picking up. And then we had to flip the switch and send them all home.
Oh, here she comes.
As it went, we realized that, okay, so this is going to last a little bit longer. So how can we make it that our dogs continue to progress with the training?
The pandemic highlighted for us the importance of being able to leverage technology. This is really important for us because we have 1,025 active working teams today across the country.
So we had to find out how to communicate with our clients through Zoom. Teaching the foster families through virtual learning is extremely difficult.
It's almost like asking someone to paint a picture with a brush. You're not holding the brush, and they're creating the picture that you have in your head.
Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides will return after the break. We're back with Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides. When the coronavirus pandemic hit in the spring of 2020, it caused major upheaval for the foundation, sending over 400 dogs home to foster families and closing the training facility entirely.
Our instructors and staff have been absolutely amazing at coming up with videos and demonstrations.
The first one I'm going to show you today is called a fetch. Yes, go boy.
And making sure that our clients feel comfortable handling their dog. Because it's not as simple as just being matched with a dog and off you go on your merry way. There's a lot to learn about a dog.
The clients that we serve are incredibly diverse because of the 7 programs. So our online learning has had to be adjusted program by program. So we need to ensure that all of the technology that we implement is fully accessible.
The staff and trainers were also able to use the extra time they had to update the entire online system that had long needed an upgrade.
We've all created these classrooms that have all of this content with videos on training. And then we can also close the door. There's nudge, good boy. Everything you could possibly want. That does make us better, but we never had the time to do that before COVID. So a little bit of a blessing in disguise there.
But there are some parts of training that are a bit more difficult to find a way around.
Our Diabetic Alert Dog Eye program, we train with saliva samples.
That's coming from the mouth and the saliva of another person, and we don't know if they've come into contact with somebody who's maybe had COVID. So we just said, if we can't do it safely, then it's just going to have to be put on hold for a few months.
This caused some repercussions for the Diabetic Alert program.
Unfortunately, in the year 2020, we weren't able to match any of our Diabetic Alert dogs. We did have some that were close to being ready, and unfortunately, we had to put that on hold.
Finally, the fall rolled around and restrictions were easing up a little bit, and we were designated as an essential service. It didn't mean that we could kind of bring everyone back, because that would be a lot of people, a lot of dogs, a lot of hands in the same area, a lot of breathing the same air.
This meant that there would still be no puppies for the foreseeable future. But on the bright side, it would also mean that trainers and their dogs could come back to the facility, albeit in limited numbers.
Are we going this way?
It was very exciting. It was great to get back, working the dogs, seeing how they've been.
Alyssa Sylvester is an apprentice in the Canine Vision program and began her role only 2 weeks before the pandemic started.
I was very excited to be able to come back and do my job that I was hired for, and to learn how to train vision dogs.
We were worried that because we put in about 6 to 7 months already into the dogs that we sent home to foster families, were we going to need to redo all that training?
They were in for a surprise.
The dogs didn't skip a beat. They were just fantastic.
They hadn't lost all their skills, not at all. They remembered nearly everything.
Here and sit, here and down, here and wait. It worked out so well, I think, for most of the trainers, that we got dogs back that were almost as good as if we had trained them ourselves.
So it felt really good to go back to what we knew, to what we were used to, and see the dogs and know that the foster families did the best that they could with the dogs, and they did a fantastic job.
And it also meant that we were going to be able to place these dogs, mostly as planned.
Typically, once a dog completes the training and a match is made, clients usually come to train in person in small groups for 2 to 3 weeks, rounded out with online classes and consultations.
So it was important that we be able to carry on the work. We just had to figure out how to do it in a modified way.
So they came up with home placements where the client could get one-on-one classes with the trainer in their own home instead. Today, Art is dropping off Kieran to a successor client in the Autism Assistance Program. But Kieran isn't like any other dog. Art has also been a part-time foster parent to Kieran.
Hi, Kieran. Art and Kieran have a really special connection.
Boy.
So when you're in your last year of your apprenticeship, the dogs that you place out by yourself, and you're tailoring the dog for that client. So Kieran is that dog for Art.
Kieran was with Art for a whole year longer than what is normal, so the bond has only grown that much stronger.
You ready? Here we go. Here we go, Kieran.
Hello, Kieran.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
It really feels good to be able to give a dog to a deserving individual. I'm happy and sad at the same time. I think I'll be sad for the rest of the day, but it's always hard to let go. I'm so happy that he's going to a good family.
While the trainers may be the frontline rock stars, there are so many people involved in a dog guide's journey, not to mention the foster families who often wear their heart on their sleeves.
All right, puppy, you ready? You want to go for a car ride? Yeah, come on.
Rather than being with the families for sort of the 12 to 14 months that they usually would be, they've been with them closer to 2 years. It's been a hard time for a lot of people.
It will be some time before things go completely back to normal, but the dog guides team is getting closer and closer every day. They are actively matching their dogs from a few of their programs.
When we're matching, it's towards the end of training when we have a good feel for this dog's personality, activity level, and skill level. All of that information helps us match to the right client.
Gary Heine is a client in the Vision program at Dog Guides, and he received his first dog, Irv, a few years ago.
The trainers bring in all these dogs, and we're all looking at one another, and you're wondering, oh, wow, which dog is mine? And then all of a sudden, they set Irv beside you. And it is totally amazing how the personalities of that dog, whether it's a female or male, is matched up with the client. And Irv and I mean, we're inseparable.
Niles is a black lab in the Diabetic Alert program. Amanda is his trainer, and after months of working together, she believes Niles is ready to be matched, and she's presenting her findings to her boss, Julie.
Hello. Hey, how are you? Good. You ready for matching? Absolutely. So the matching meeting is when the dogs are pretty much at the end of their training, and then we find a potential client for them.
Once we have the dog ready to be matched, we'll look at our wait list and see who is on the list. Are they a new client or are they a successor client, meaning they've had a dog from us before?
Niles is a really nice walker. He's got a really nice slow cadence. He's super, super gentle. So today we talked about Niles. Niles has a couple months left in his training, and then we're looking at matching him with one of our successor clients. What we look at is where the person lives, the dog activity level, if they live alone.
He's kind of got a more laid back, cool dude, just want to chill out vibe. So I know that client A, you know, she stays home, she doesn't work. So I feel like that would be a really good match for him.
Right. For us, the beauty of having the 7 programs is that a dog that might be not as suitable for one program might be exactly what we're looking for in a different program.
Sometimes they aren't right for any program, and this usually means a career change.
The job comes with a lot of highs, but it also comes with a lot of lows. When you work so hard with a dog and they come so far, but you know they're just not cut out to be a working dog, and that's okay. Not every dog is supposed to be an assistance dog.
There are no failures at Dog Guides, just redirections. Shannon received a call one day about a client whose dog suddenly passed away.
So today we are taking Joker, who is a fully trained autism assistance dog, and he is going all the way to the airport to meet with his new family, well, his new dad from his big family.
Due to the pandemic restrictions, they're still not allowing the typical 3-week intensive training at the facility. So Joker is going home on the plane with his new family at first meeting after having completed 2 weeks of virtual classes instead.
Joker is a bit of a fun dog for me because he's really come full circle in my career so far at Dog Guides. I started part-time in the breeding kennel, and one of the very first litters that I ever whelped or helped birth, Joker was one of those puppies. And when I got my string of dogs, Joker was one of them, and I was super thrilled to be working with them. Not that I pick favorites, but he gets a little extra attention because I just feel very connected to him.
All right, buddy. You're going to the airport, Joker. You're going to meet your new dad.
Colin McKenzie lives in Calgary, Alberta with his family, which includes his 13-year-old son Nathan, diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder and nonverbal.
Yeah, we've been without a dog guide now for 3 or 4 months since Nathan's previous dog guide passed away, and it's been really difficult. We've had to cancel all his appointments at the hospital and the doctors, and it's not safe to take him out. He's too big and strong. To lose a dog during the pandemic, we had no idea what was going to happen, if we were going to even be able to get a dog this quickly.
They needed a new dog very quickly, and I thought about it, and he's just the perfect dog for them.
I think Colin's flight arrived a little bit early, so I think he's downstairs waiting for us to come down and meet Joker. That's it, Joker.
Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides will return after the break. We're back with Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides. Shannon and Joker, a fully trained autism assistance dog, are at the airport about to meet Joker's new family.
That's him, Joker.
Hi, Shannon. How are you? Hi, Joker.
Hi, Joker.
Hello, Joker. Hello, Joker.
While Colin and Joker wait for their flight to leave, Shannon is giving them a quick lesson, including a test on the HALT command, which is designed for kids with autism who may run into traffic or other dangerous situations.
The flight risk is the biggest concern for us. Sometimes even jokingly likes to try to get away from us and run and play, and Joker has been trained to resist that, drop to the ground, and wait until we give him the command to get up. Oh.
They're doing absolutely amazing. To see this level of eye contact and bonding in a field within minutes of meeting each other, it's amazing. It's really incredible.
Not only have I had a connection with this dog prior to his training with me, I've also had a connection to this family prior to their training. And now I'm connecting the two and looping it all together, and it's a big full circle, and it's just a really rewarding feeling knowing that kind of start to placement and for the rest of their journey moving forward. I've been part of that from the very start. It's pretty cool.
We just go by the trainers at Dog Guides and how wonderful they are, and tell us that he's the perfect fit for Nathan, because they know what Nathan's real needs are and what our needs are, and they match that perfectly.
He's a good boy, I can tell already.
That went better than I could have ever hoped for with the two of them. Joker, you'll be good. So saying goodbye was bittersweet, but it's really good to know that he is doing exactly what he was born to do.
Lions Foundation of Dog Guides Canada was founded in the 80s.
It was only canine vision, so we had about 4 or 5 staff, approximately 20, 25 dogs in the kennel, and we just have grown quite quickly.
The foundation started out in what was actually an old school in Oakville, Ontario, and definitely wasn't intended to serve a multi-program facility.
Welcome to Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides. We'll start by taking you into one of our client rooms. And as you can see, there's an immediate challenge when you walk through this doorway. It's narrow. So imagine yourself in a wheelchair with a dog at your side, and how tricky that is going to be to negotiate this space. So I'm going to show you next to our wheelchair accessible elevator, and what you'll notice is that it's not very accessible. You have to come through the building first to get to it, and that involves numerous doors and some stairs, or going through a side door to the building.
While it's served many over the decades, the time has come for a change.
We often joke that we're a little bit like a beehive or an ant colony, in that there's 7 programs training in one building that was designed for maybe 2 or 3.
We are literally bursting at the seams.
And the outdoor space is less than ideal for the dogs as well.
Stones and gravel, which is not really good for their pads. And it's not a good place for them to relieve themselves, and it's not super easy to clean either.
They've decided that it's time for a change, and a big one.
So we have a really exciting opportunity ahead of us. So we have made a decision to sell our building And we have purchased land in Oakville and are in the process of designing an 85,000 square foot new facility that's going to be state of the art. And it's been a really exciting process.
With the new build, they're getting the opportunity to completely customize the facility. Staff and even clients have been consulted to ensure they are making the best decisions for everyone. John and Gerard Nantanik are a father and son team that are part of Artistry Construction, the lead design consultants on the new build for dog guides.
In terms of square footage, this is definitely our biggest project. It's not a building that's used by general public. This is a building that strictly is used by people with disabilities. Things like corridors, we have to kind of keep in mind that it's not just, one person, two people passing each other by. It could be someone in a wheelchair with a guide dog, with a trainer.
Yes, good boy.
What we kind of do now is adapt an area to work for us and the training that we need. But now we're getting the opportunity to build something that is fully created for us and for our needs and for each program specifically.
And we are engaging our clients to ensure that we understand how to build the best facility for each of our clients across our 7 programs.
I can't tell you how exciting this project is. It's amazing.
After a year of unprecedented challenges for dog guides, spring 2021 started to show signs of new growth in the best possible way. Puppies. Much to everyone's relief, the breeding program is back and they're off to a good start.
It's really nice to be back. We were all so excited for those first puppies.
There was 13 of them, which is like, wow, sort of not just a first litter of puppies, it was like a huge poodle litter as well.
There was ripples of joy throughout the organization when we heard that. It was just this, yay, beachy.
Average litter for us is about 7 puppies. She was making up for lost time, I felt like, when she had that many.
We have to think long-term. So dogs that we breed now will be matched in 2.5, 3 years. So it was really important for us to get back to breeding.
It was incredible news.
It was just such a happy, just a little bit of light at the end of like the COVID lung tunnel.
And with more puppies on the way, the veterinary clinic has never been busier.
We've set up protocols to keep everybody safe, lots of curbside medicine, safe drop-off and pick-up protocols.
While some litters are bigger than average, sometimes a litter is very small.
How many puppies are in there?
Blair is pregnant and recently received an ultrasound. The imaging showed that she was carrying just 1 puppy. It's rare for a dog to only have 1 puppy, so she's back for another ultrasound to confirm, only days before she's due to give birth.
Okay, here's Blair. So I'm just gonna have a careful feel of her tummy.
Today at the clinic, Dr. Michelle Van Linden is conducting a final scan. If it confirms there's just 1 puppy, she will schedule a C-section, as a single pup can often be too large for a safe, natural delivery.
With this x-ray, we now have confirmed that there's just 1 puppy. So therefore, we are planning to do a cesarean section on her next week. That's it, yeah.
Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides will return after the break. We're back with Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides. After a long 6 months of the pandemic, getting the breeding program up and running again was beginning to breathe new life into the organization.
I think for staff at Dog Guides, puppies means training, means placing dogs with clients again, and that's what we're here for.
It is just a good sign that we're getting back to what we want to do. I love a lot about my job. I find the most rewarding part is when we do have a graduation. Even when I'm breeding, even when I'm cuddling the tiny little puppies, I'm keeping that in mind that that's what we're working towards.
Graduations are the culmination of years of hard work by a community of individuals, from fosters to the vet staff to the instructors and the kennel staff, and of course, the matches of dog and a client, who will be spending the better part of the next 10 years together. Due to the ongoing pandemic, the first graduation of 2021 was virtual, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise.
We had over 400 people on our Zoom call. I was ecstatic.
And the client success stories are always the highlight.
This dog is going to help my son be able to not hurt himself. And that is so big, and we are so grateful.
When I started here at Dog Guides, the first graduation I participated in, it made me cry through the whole thing. And I have continued to cry at graduations for 17 years.
We joke our graduations really need to be sponsored by a tissue company. Our next graduation, we are hoping to have 24 graduates out the door, which I can't tell you how exciting that is to be able to talk about that in a future tense.
So today we are actively matching in all of our programs, which is very, very exciting. We are going to begin scheduling in-person classes again, which means that some of the dogs that have been in training and waiting will be matched and going home with their partners.
So puppy program today, we are busy assigning sort of puppies to foster families and getting all of that going.
Currently, we have 12 dogs in the hearing program, and we're gearing up to place 3 of them soon.
So what's happening now in the Cane and Vision program is that myself and Alyssa got a whole new group of dogs, and they're all doing very nicely.
Demand across our 7 programs is high. It's always been high and it remains high. So we have a plan to increase our ability to graduate more dogs to help more people.
Right from the people cleaning the floors to the trainers, the coaches, the administrators, the communicators. How many people are involved in changing one person's life? And it's 2 people's lives. It's the client and our friend. Yeah.
Yes. What I love about my job, there's not like a singular answer to that, I don't think.
I love everything about this job. I think what initially draws people to this organization is the dogs. However, you quickly realize that dogs are just the bonus. The real work and the impact is helping people in need.
What's not to love about working at Lions Foundation Canada Dog Guides? It would be really hard to pinpoint one thing. I work with amazing people. I'm surrounded by dogs every day.
The thing I most like is feeling like being part of a bigger picture.
I'm really proud of working at Dog Guides Canada because we're not afraid to grow and learn. We've adapted the newest techniques in training.
When you teach a skill, there's always a moment when the dog gets it, and you can almost see that light bulb go off in their head. And that is such a high. And you get really excited for the dog and the life that they're gonna get, and also the client who's been waiting for this dog.
For giving us the sense of freedom and independence, we wouldn't be able to do it without them. So they're amazing.
Anyone who gets one of these dogs, their life is forever changed. Good boy.
Producer, director, writer, Laura Lillie. Production manager, Carol Aishelman. Director of photography, Dave Woodside. Editor, Elise Rice. Narrator, Laura Lillie. Colorist, Martin Parega. Post audio, Eggplant Picture and Sound. Coordinating producer, Jennifer Johnson. Content development specialist, Karen McGee. Integrated Describe video specialist, Simone Cupid. Director production, Kara Nye. Director programming, Brian Perdue. Vice President Programming and Production, John Melville. President and CEO, David Errington. Summerhill Media Inc. Copyright 2021, Accessible Media Inc.